Hi. Right, well, during the lockdown, I have been getting Adobe out of my life. I bought this Affinity software. This is Affinity Photo. And I've been using the lockdown to go through tons of tutorials to convert over from Photoshop, which I have been using since before version 3 and layers came in. So that shows you how much, muscle memory and how used I've become to using Photoshop. So converting after all this time, literally decades, is quite a big thing for me. But Affinity makes it is such a good program that really it makes it easy. And also, you're getting rid of Adobe subscriptions out of your life. It's a one-time fee. And for someone like me, who's a sole trader, it makes a lot more sense to pay a one-time fee to Affinity for for software that is easily capable of doing everything I need. I work just on the web in an RGB, as it were. Just make a one-time payment to Affinity rather than paying the equivalent amount to Adobe every month. And really, it just makes much more financial sense, which is why I did it. And the lockdown came along, which gave me a nice breathing space in which to learn this software. So to show you how you can use Affinity, I thought I'd prepare this file for Instagram. And this is, in fact, a file I have uploaded to my Instagram account. And it was to draw attention to the fact that there's a local shop here in Tewkesbury, in Barton Street, called One Stop, that is selling masks for £2 each. And all the profits go to children's charities, which strikes me as a much better idea than paying £15 for the adverts Facebook was showing me, or the one I bought from eBay, which was £3.99. So all profits going to charity. They've left the apostrophe off the end of children's, but we'll ignore that for now. Right, okay, let's look at this photo. We want to prepare it for Instagram. Now, have a general look at the photo. What I want to get across is this message in the label here. And there's a bit of sellotape over this message, which has made it go all funny up in this top right-hand corner, top here. Sort of cast this shadow over it. And it's not looking good where there's sort of white air bubbles under the sellotape. And the other thing that stands out, of course, in this photo is these red flowers, which look vaguely COVID-like to COVID-19-like, don't they? It'd be quite good if you make them pop, because the photo is quite knocked back. It's just a snap taken with my iPhone X, iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it, on my kitchen table. No lighting or anything like that. It's just a snap, which, let's face it, the vast majority of photos uploaded to Instagram are people snapping with their phones, uploading it to Instagram for their friends. It's great. It's what it's all about. It's a democracy. I will take it. I've been using it to sort of learn this program, so I thought I'd show you a few techniques. And this is really just a technique tutorial or demonstration, if you like. So here we go. Right, first thing I want to do is change the background from black to white, because Instagram displays photos on a white background. And that will affect how we perceive the photo, and we want to reproduce that here. So you go to Preferences, User Interface. The top slider is Background, grey level. It's all the way to the left at the moment. Turn it all the way to the right, and we've got a white background. Now, next thing you want to do is change the document's ICC profile, and this makes quite a difference. We want to see this photo as we're working on it here in Affinity, as it will be seen on Instagram. And anything you load up to Instagram, they will change the profile to sRGB. So if we go to Assign ICC Profile, we see it's come through from the iPhone, and it's just been airdropped from the iPhone onto this iMac and pulled into Affinity, which has no problems reading the files. It's come through as Display 3, and the one Instagram uses is sRGB. down at the bottom here. Now this is actually quite dramatic. If you look at the reds when I click assign, see what a difference it makes. Can you see how much duller the red's got there? We'll just do that again. Document, assign ICC profile, change it back to display P3, have a look at the red, how much brighter it looks, and then lastly we're going to change it back one more time to the one we're going to use, which is sRGB. And it's made the reds a lot duller, and if you remember at the beginning I said I wanted to make the reds pop, and that's had the opposite effect, so we're going to have to correct that. Okay, so first thing to do is duplicate the photo on a new layer, and you can see on the layers panel over on the right here it's duplicated the photo, and we've got a photo down at the bottom which is going to remain unchanged, which we, by turning off all the layers we're going to add, we can check how the photo was originally and how all our adjustments and what have you have affected it. And I'm going to use curves to do all this, to make these reds pop and make this photo, make this message stand out. I quite like the way the rest of it is sort of knocked back because I want those bits to stand out. As I say, there's no special lighting for the photo, it's just a snap. Okay, so what I'm going to do is select, first of all we'll do the label. I'm going to select this label, I'm going to use the pen tool, just quickly run around it. You could use, for all of this, there are multiple ways you can do it. Okay, you needn't even use curves if you don't want to, but that's the way I'm going to do it for the purpose of this video. There's a bit of a low spot there. Okay, so we've been around it with the pen tool. We're going to hit selection. If you want to see how that looks, you can hit the Q key. Yeah, this is just a quick video. I'm not trying to get it perfect, so that's what the masks look like. That's what the selection looks like. And now we're going to add a curves adjustment layer, which we can do two ways, either by clicking this button down here, or by going up to the top and going layer, new adjustment layer, and selecting curves. Okay, these layers, these adjustment layers, all come with a built-in mask. And if you look at your layers panel over here, you will see white means selected and black means not selected. So as you can see the labels being reproduced over here. So any adjustments we make in the curves here are just going to affect the label. So right in the shadows here, we want to get rid of the shadow. So this end of the shadows down the bottom here, highlights are up the top. We want to make this label pop a bit, so it's quite a big smudge, so we're going to do that. Right, that looks good, but we got rid of a lot of that shadow there. We want to keep it fairly natural. I don't want to make it all black and white so that it just looks weird. But it's degraded the black text here a bit. There's sort of white specks on the edge, particularly on this S here, in this O, there's grey bits. So we're going to change the blend mode. Blend mode is currently normal. And if we turn that to overlay, it retains much more of the integrity of the text. So it looks nice and black. You can read it. Okay, now we'll just close that off. And we'll have a look at the difference we just made doing that simple curves adjustment. See? See what difference that makes, just that simple 10-second process. Okay, we'll call that done. If I was doing this, I would take a bit more care about that, to be quite honest. I'd probably brush over this bit with a sort of fairly low opacity brush. I'd brush over this bit more to make it apply more, the curves adjustment, apply more to that bit than that end, because that's where the deepest shadows are, but we're just going to keep this simple. Command D to deselect. Now we want to put another curves adjustment in to hit these reds here. So what we'll do is we'll create a new curves adjustment layer. Okay, and now I'm targeting the reds. And we're going to take this mask, and by going Command I, the built-in mask into the adjustment layer, we're going to go Command I, so nothing is selected. We're going to grab ourselves a paintbrush. We've got opacity 100%, flow 100%, hardness 100%, that'll do. And we're going to select these flowers here, paint over these flowers here. Oops. Right, I went over there, but we're going to change that at the end. And I'm going to select all the reds, the reds and the yellow and the white in the centre of the flowers, which I want to pop. Okay, we're going to adjust this selection in a minute, just by painting over them. And this orange one down here, I want to bring that out as well. Okay, again, I cannot stress enough, this is very crude, and I take much more care of it. And you can see on the mask here, these little holes, which are now selected. And if you click Option, like that, on the mask icon, you can see the bits I've missed. So let's fill in those bits. Just make this complete. Okay, and we're back to the top curves adjustment layer with the roses selected. Right, and let's adjust it. Let's go over to red, see what difference that makes. If you see the red. Okay, that's rather too much of a sort of pale red, so I'm going to go back to master. And let's see if we can mess around with that until I get a sort of colour. Well, I think that's popping. I mean, you can't say that's popping. Again, if this wasn't, a YouTube video, I'd be taking a lot more care. Okay, close that out. Now, if we select all our layers apart from the original one, we can turn them off, all the adjustments we've made to this photo. So this is how we've ended up for the purposes of this video, and this is what it looked like when we brought it in. You see the difference that's made? It really is excellent software, this Affinity photo. I can highly recommend it. It's worth putting the time in to convert to it, because it's just fantastic. It's more than I need for what I do, to be honest. Fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you to Affinity. Thank you to Affinity, actually, for running all those they were doing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon during lockdown. I'm talking as if lockdown's over, aren't I? Because the messages coming from our government are just, don't get me started. But every afternoon at 4 o'clock they were putting on live streams with artists who were using photo, publisher and designer, and they became part of my lockdown, and I think, I'm really happy I've fallen in with this company. So there we go, quick one, hope it helps you. See you later. Hi, I just thought I'd show you how I crop photos in Instagram. I don't do that in Affinity. Today, obviously, everyone's posting black squares for Black Lives Matter in the US due to the appalling violence going on over there, incited in part by the orange madman. And I sincerely hope this doesn't migrate across the Atlantic, because we have a very like-minded government. Anyway, I crop my photos in Instagram, and how to do it is you tap on edit, you tap on adjust. I like to tap on the grid in the top left hand corner, and then using two fingers you can simply zoom in and zoom out of your photo to do your final crop. It's very simple. There's nothing to stop you, going over and, once you're happy with your crop, going over and using the filters in Instagram. What you've got to remember is that they will affect the whole photo rather than like we did in Affinity, able to select out bits and what have you. So they'll affect the whole photo, but it's up to you. It's all entirely flexible. You can do what you like when you like. That's the point of the internet, isn't it? Really, within reason. Okay, thanks very much for listening.